Happy New Year everybody and welcome to the Retro Robbins Show. Coming up, we're going to have some more re-reviews and we're going to have a look at a bit of new hardware as well as the Spectrum Next game that I've really enjoyed playing, and of course we'll end the show as always with Commodore versus Spectrum. So join me now on Retro Robbins. Titles. Hello and welcome to the Retro Robbins Show with me, Wayne Retro Robbins, and a Happy New Year to everybody out there. Well, I thought we'd start today's show with a little bit of hardware review, as most people like to improve their products, and there's been a slight improvement on a certain TZX player, which we'll go through in a moment. Also on today's show, we've got Commodore versus Spectrum, we've got a next game we want to play, and we've got another re-review. So, what else is that? Oh yes, if you haven't heard, KLF have released their back catalogue, the one that they notoriously deleted. It's been over 26 years, you can now go and stream the KLF greatest hits. Although I've not really forgiven them for burning £1 million when there are plenty of needy people in the world that could have done with that money and not watched it go up in smoke. So, do we really want to stream their back catalogue? Are they forgiven for that? Probably not. It's unforgivable. But they thought it was art. Perhaps they need to be the people who are penniless and who are suffering, eh? Oh, that was a bit political, wasn't it, from Retro Robbins? Okay, so we're going to start with turning this music down for one thing, and we're going to try and have a look at a bit of new hardware. But before we do that, we're going to compare it to the old hardware to see what advantages it has over the new hardware, which I'll explain now. And of course, for the duration of this small part, we only need to focus on the forward screen there, so this will disappear. Yeah, this big picture here with me, which is probably good. I know what you're thinking. We don't have to look at his ugly mug anymore, do we? Okay, enough's already. But we're going to concentrate on the big picture here on the Retro Robbins Show. So, without no further to do, which is a dog word I've got to get rid of by the end of the 2021, we're going to have a look at the hardware now. I've moved to the big screen now to have a look at what we're going to do. We're going to try the old hardware first. And we've plugged in a particularly troublesome file in the SD card, and to show there's no jiggery pokery, I'm going to use the same SD card in all the devices shown here today. So we'll start by loading this particular game. So as I take a sip of my tea. Bobby Bearing, quality game. Now, before I proceed any further, let me tell you that the way the Spectrum can hear the files through the jack can vary from machine to machine. For instance, I've got two toast racks, and this is the deafer one of the two, and the other one can hear it better. And I believe that's probably something to do with the ULA chip variation on particular models. I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me, but I do have Spectrums that can hear anything and Spectrums that can't hear a thing. And you know, as these machines get older, obviously the components do wear a little bit and probably not as good. And there you go, you can see it's failed. So to prove a point, what I'm going to do now, because I believe it's all about volume, is I'm going to plug this device in, which is, let's see, it's a stereo headphone amplifier, right? So let's just unplug. First of all, I think we'll leave it in there. We'll unplug it from here. We'll go from that there into here. I've got it turned up to maximum volume. So let's stop that file. Let's try again. Well, this is with the amplifier now installed. And straight away you can see it's pretty clear. It seems to be loading quite well. But you saw where it failed before. And as you can see, it's still loading this first part. Now this is where it failed. This next pick, it just didn't pick it up, and this has happened using all the other devices that I use, which is including this one, which is really good because I like it's the size of a credit card. And there you go, as you can see, it's now loading the loading screen nicely, and that's just with a little bit of amplification. So volume is key, and I should know. I've been dealing with Spectrum for years, and I always find that adjusting tape head or volume will make a difference in whether a file can load or not. So now that we know that's loading, we'll just stop it there. Right, we'll unplug the amplifier, because that is not going to be in use. It's failed because I've stopped it, of course. And we'll try the new bit without amplification, the new item that Ricky has done. So to prove there's no jiggery pokery, we're going to use the same SD card out over here. And of course, let me just power it off while I plug the SD card in. Return. We don't want the multi-face on. I must have hit the button there by accident. While we wait for that to power up a few seconds, there we go. Type in load speech. Let's go to the file that we use. We want to use the same file, of course, which was on my fast loaders, which was an episode that I did. And you can notice, even without amplification, it is a little bit more powerful, and it seems to be picking it up quite clearly. So, a lot of these, this is great. As you can see, this is the Duncan Edwards TZX Duo. Got a lovely feel to the buttons, got a nice big powerful display. Obviously it uses more power than that one does, because the display is slightly, you know, less needy in voltage and ampage. More milliamps, even though it is milliamps. But to go through files with this, you have to repeatedly press, and if you've got around about 3,000 or 4,000, the more files you've got on here, the slower it becomes. And of course, that too, as well as that, both need that to help load on certain files with this particular machine. So what's the difference? They're all good, they all do the job of loading TAP files or TZX files. So I'm going to stop this now. We can see it's clearly loading perfect. What's the difference? Well, I'll show you now. So I'll take this apart. And I've already taken most of the screws out to compare it to the original one. So we'll take the back off the first one that needed the amplification to start with. And I've countersunk the holes in this myself, because I like flat surface screws, you know. It's just an engineering thing that I have to do. So we'll have a look inside, shall we? And straight away, the first thing you notice, the SD card reader there. Then you've got a little bit of you've got the chip there, which does the sound and that. Then you've got the main part. And you've got the buttons with a couple of capacitors, resistors, some larger capacitors there, and you've got your inputs. So you take a mental note of that and compare it with the next one, the one that Ricky has done. And just like any inventor, people like to improve their products and see if they can make it better. So when you give him feedback and people who listen, that just shows that they're willing to try something out and make an improvement, and believe me, this is an improvement. So what's the difference? Well, you've got your usual SD card, same part there, and you've got the chip, you've got your little bit of amplification, and you've got your buttons, but also you've got this little device there, which has added a little bit of extra something to it. I don't know if it's an amplification device, but it's definitely giving it a bit more output power, which I've tested on the multimeter, and it seems to be the case. And that is the difference between that and this one. So let's compare them side by side. We've got that one, and I don't want to drop everything, but I'm going to by the looks of things. And this one. You see the difference? Yeah, And it's made the world of difference, because now there isn't a single game that will not load. So the new and improved Maker Robots, you make a robot, you make robots.com, that was easy for me to say, is without doubt gets a 100% thumbs up and a recommendation from the Retro Robbins. And that was that little section complete with. I hope you found that useful. Let's move on to today's next game. So we're going to have a look at the first game, which is available on free download that somebody has done. So I'm going to have a look at this. This is number. And let's just pause the A-boy sound on here a moment. As you can hear, it's got an annoying little bleeper sound. What you've effectively got to do is there's like a little flashing helicopter in the corner just over there. Where's my little pointer device? I have it all prepared. Just there, where the green spot, that, you've got to get the same colour as that, and by pressing a key. Press C when you're ready. Okay. Okay. Using space. Oh, I got one. No. No. If you've got to get about +5. And when you get to -5, you've obviously you've not achieved it. So yeah, that's a simple game, and that's all it is really. It's a reaction game. However, if you break into the program, you're about to get a playing tip from Retro Robbins, and list 450. And when you get to 450, if you go towards the end, right, and just put a pause statement in it. For instance, we're going to say pause 22. That'll give us enough time. Enter. Then type run. And then this time when we play it, you can see it's changing a lot slower, which means you should be able to do this quite easily. Hints and tips by Retro Robbins. Yeah, I know it's cheating, but that's what I like doing. And of course you can change the pause to whatever you like. So in your own way you can alter the speed of it to your own heart's content and see if you can get better each time. So, you know, by changing that pause statement, it gives you plenty of time to hit all 5. There you go, and I can win every time. Retro Robbins playing tips, the first one, unofficial. It's me hacking things, I love it. Right, moving on to the next game that I've purchased today, which I'm going to show you now. So we're going to the next games where I've kept this file because it's a Spectrum next game. We're going to have a look at it. It is a strategy game. Just pause the A-boy sound. The Next War. And of course I contributed, and first thing we're going to do is change that level. QAOP and space for fire, you can redefine as well. Which I'm doing this because I want M not space, because I'm using a rubber keyboard, that is. And cancel, we'll use E for exit. Cancel. Start the war. Okay. What you're going to do, you've got a certain amount of dosh. You have to place a various amount of and every time you destroy one of there, this is the first wave, you'll get through the first few waves quite comfortably. And look, it missed. As soon as one is destroyed, you get more dosh to buy more equipment. So I've now got 75 cash. I need more than that though. And I think we should get the first one for sure. As soon as one makes it through to this part here though, that's when you'll lose a life. Or if a helicopter, which will come across later in the screen, makes it over there, you lose a life. You've got a total of 9 lives. And what you need to do is you need to spend your money wisely on these. You can save up to get the better one. We'll start with some air defences. So we'll put an air defence there because at the moment we're doing alright with the tanks. And that will cover like a square zone around about that big. But you'll find that this is still firing at this one. It will ignore that one. And if that one makes it through, this one will get less strikes on it. And that's where the key is, you know. And obviously the more and more waves you get through attacks, the more and more it becomes difficult. But also can become easier in certain aspects depending on where you've used or placed these. It's a simple game. Not much more to it than what you see here. You can have a different level which gives you a different screen. Becomes slightly harder. This is on easy and I still find this is hard. And we could lose a life here. Yes, we've already lost 1 life because he has made it through. And we've only got 85 dosh. So we'll carry on playing it for a bit and see how we get on with this go. The key is where you place these obviously, and you want to. I like to sort of pepper that myself personally. It's not a playing tip for me, of course. It might be the completely wrong strategy. Try and blow them up before they get any further. And they will vary in speed as well. You'll find that some travel faster than others. Hopefully we're going to get a bit more dosh and I'll be able to plant a few more devices to stop them getting through. I think one would be good about there, but you've got to be ready because as you get through to round 7 and 8, that's when the choppers come, and if you haven't got enough air defences, the, shall we say, the pinkish coloured one or magenta coloured one there can actually do the air as well as ground. So yeah, and of course you've got varying prices. You've got £400, 250, 100 and 100. Which I'm going to put that one there. Should hopefully cover all of this section across here. Good stuff. So we're going to start by putting a few more air defences down. I think we'll get it about. Doesn't matter where you put your air defences as long as you've got them covered. See, if a chopper comes across here now, he might get hit by this as well as this and not make it through to there. Well, that one's definitely gone. And this one should be hit by that as well as that. As long as they take out the first one, otherwise it protects the rear tank, which is what they're meant to represent. Just in the nick of time, but I don't think we've just got enough here to get another one in place. We'll do now. By putting it there, it should cover that part as well. More air defence. Hopefully that will help to get rid of the first wave of choppers. I think the first one comes across here though, which means it's only going to get hit by that. But by that time I'm hoping to have a bit more money. And as you can see, that one is travelling slightly faster than normal. I don't think he's going to make. I think he's going to be toast because I've got plenty of cannon's face. So yeah, he's gone. He's a goner. And so is this one, I should think now, because it's going to get hit by this, that, and that might get dual cannon there by the two of them. See if he gets 2 shots. Yeah, 2 shots, but not by the pink, it's by those and those. And now all of a sudden, I think we can do with another air defence. We'll put an air defence here. We'll play it until we see the first chopper and see if we've actually managed to destroy it. I find this game quite addictive and quite fun to play. There's not much to it, but it's a brain tester. And when you're as brain dead as me after the New Year's proceedings, anything can be quite challenging. I should think we've got them all. As you can see, I'm doing quite well with all of the cannons, so I'm putting more air defences in. Because while the tanks are getting defeated, I think he might make it through. I could potentially... Will he get dual cannon here? Yes, he has. That's done the trick, to be honest. And as you can see, there's the first chopper. We should get hit by this as well. Yeah, there we go. It gets really intense when you get choppers, tanks, and you know, as you can see, we've got rid of the first chopper, got the air defences in time, and that is that particular game. So what am I going to say about that game? Well, it's definitely worth a go. I found it as addictive as anything. It's a simple idea, but clever strategy game, nicely done, good graphics. Not a large file by any means. It is available for download, and I did my little contribution towards it, which I'm more than happy to do these days, and I definitely suggest you have a go and give it a play if you've got the Spectrum Next. I found it quite enjoyable. So yeah, I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10 from Retro Robbins, and worth a go. And I've still got 8 lives, I'm doing rather well. So let's move on to today's first re-review. So the game I'm going to re-review from 1986 Crash magazine, issue number 34, when Crash was only £1, that was the cover. And we're going to have a look at Captain Jelly. Yes, this producer was Quicksilver. The retail price was £8.95 and the author was Icon Design. So what did Crash make of this game? Well, we'll have a look at the game itself in a minute. Their use of computer, they had a lot of ratings in this particular magazine. Use of computer 76%, graphics 75%, playability 65%. We'll see about that. Getting started 79%, addictive quality 62%, value for money 57%, which is quite expensive in those days, wasn't it? £8.95. They didn't just call it £9, I don't know. Because that's effectively what it is, or bar 5 pence, pick flies. Overall rating was 63%, so it had a mediocre rating. And we don't have a loading screen, I don't believe. However, we will pause the audio sound. It does have bleeper sound. It's not the worst bleeper sound I've ever heard, but you know, it's not. Well, that's reasonable, isn't it? That, to be fair. So there's your startup screen. You've got obviously a high score and your last score, which is okay. You've got use of Chemstone, interface 2, redefinable keys, yippee. And that's the option I'm going to be going for, is the redefinable keys. Why? Because that just makes things easier, especially when you've got a rubber keyboard rather than a plus. With the plus I use the space bar, with the rubber keyboard I use M because it's just better for my fingers. So the first thing you got to do is clear every room of these robots, which isn't easier said than done. You've only got a limited amount of ammo, limited amount of oxygen, and we may get one but we won't get two. But I find the tip here is to hide here and let them blast each other. And I've got two robots already by the looks of things. However, you've got a limited amount of energy, a limited amount of oxygen. Every time they hit you, you lose a bit of energy, and if you don't get around with it, you lose a bit of oxygen as well. I'm going to take one for the team here as I get blasted a little bit. Oh, now I'm trapped. Now I'm in trouble. So let's get out of here quickly before I lose all my energy. And of course, if you go into these squares here, you can teleport elsewhere. Takes a few seconds though. And into your next zone. If you can find a computer terminal, it will tell you what the robots are, what quality the robots are, how tough they are to kill effectively. And yeah, so that said, it's not easy, it's quite tricky. It can be very frustrating sometimes when you're a bit hemmed in. You know, hard to move. There we have a terminal, so we'll be able to see now what we can. Tells you your energy is at 74, oxygen 63, ammunition 7. I'm really low on ammunition. And you've got one level 3 robot, the rest are level 5, so basically I'm up against it. Have a quick look at another screen before I end up. Just about made that, didn't I? See if we can find somewhere to re-oxygenise, energise. I think we're in the right zone, but it's getting past everything, I think. And so what do I think of the game? Well, it's very difficult, I'll be honest with you. It's a little bit slow moving. I don't like the way it scrolls. It's a jerky moving screen movement, and every time the unfair thing is you can end up getting hit by things that you can't even see. So you know, I don't know how that's supposed to work. And there you go, I'm going to be trapped on. I'm about to I've run out of ammo already. Okay, so what am I going to say about it? Well, to be honest, I wasn't that impressed, and effectively Crash gave it a 4 out of 10. I don't think it was that good, to be honest. I don't know whether to give it a low rating. I was thinking about giving it a low rating, but I can't do that. So we'll put some music back on, shall we? Oh, it's a tough one. I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 10. You may feel differently, but if so, that's fair enough. This is only a personal opinion. Personally, I didn't like it, even though the graphics are quite good. Large sprites, and you know, it lets itself down. First of all, lack of sound. You've got the firing sound, that's about it. It's good use of colours and backgrounds, but difficulty wise and not quite figuring out what to do can be a slow moving game at times. But yeah, that's that one, Captain Kelly. So let's move on to another game review. So I think we'll go for a random game select now. Just one from out of nowhere. We'll go between the files I've got. So we're going to choose one game in random from any letter of the alphabet. I'm just going to stop it. I've stopped today, so why not? This might not work. This could go horribly wrong. I'm just going to stop at random. Don't think we'll go for Enduro Racer because we know what they're all about, but Okay, so we've gone for something to do with Phantom of the Opera. We'll have a look at it anyway, see what this is about. I have no idea what this game is, so well, I'll tell you what, for start off, that's quite a colourful display. See, larger screen a little bit. Can we press C for controls? We'll go for Kempston. As I happen to have it plugged in. Dior, thank you very much. And let's start the game. Okay, the Kempston controls are backwards. It looks like a bit of an avoidance game, but oh, I see, okay. So down is up and up is down. You've got to hold the joystick upside down, everything's in reverse. I was jumping over them quite well earlier, wasn't I? I'll tell you what, it looks like a fairly decent sized game, doesn't it? I've not even seen it before. There's a key there. Oh, I've got something. Oh, I see what you've got to do. You've got to get that all lit up for a main key, so we're going to look for several more keys. That was pretty easy to work out. Unfortunately, won't be working anymore now. Well, what I'm going to say about the game, well, I'll tell you what. For the first look of it, it wasn't bad. I'm going to give it a bit more of a play. Probably give it a better review later on in the year. Eric, the Phantom of the Opera. It looks pretty good. How good it's going to be, I don't know. But at the moment, first impressions, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 and see if we can improve on that and play it. So that's that one. So the two games we're going to compare, or the game we're going to compare, is this one, The Way of the Exploding Fist, and that's the loading sequence for the Commodore. And in the meantime, let's have a look, or a recap, on the previous Commodore versus Spectrum so far. And there's my recap. No, seriously. Right, let's have a look. Guts was the first one we came out with, and that went to Commodore 64. 1942 also went to Commodore 64. And Amorotti went to the Spectrum, much better game by far. Pyjamarama played better on the Spectrum as far as I was concerned. And then Battleships also went to the Spectrum, making it 3-2. Paperboy went to the Commodore 64. Firelord went to the ZX Spectrum. Iridium Commodore 64. Dynamite Dan, ZX Spectrum, and then we finished with Green Beret Commodore 64. So it's even, and I did say 8 all, I meant 4 all. It's 4 apiece, isn't it really? So no, it's more than 4 apiece, isn't it? 6 apiece, I think. Let me just check. Quick recap. Can't use that gag twice. Besides, I prefer my Albert. This one's my dad's cap and this one's my cap, and I like the two, but this one fits better, but it's also seen better days. So, you know, and a recap. That's 2 recaps in one Retro Robbins show. Wicked. Okay, let's have a count up, shall we? I've lost my info. Oh well, it was all going spiffingly up until this point. Listen to where I come from. It's spiffingly. You don't hear people use that sort of terminology anymore, do you? Just shows how old-fashioned and how old I've become. Oh, and the tune you can hear in the background is provided by the Omni 128. Hold on, quick turn. Well, Dad said I was having a funny turn. 95 and still got a sense of humour. Okay, so yeah, it's 4 apiece. 4-piece. While we're waiting for this one to load, then we're up to 83%. We'll tell you about any up and coming shows. Obviously, I'm looking forward to the big reveal show when I get my Spectrum next through. Hopefully this year in 2021 it's got to be. I'm also going to be doing a bit on 3D printing. I might need some G code files for a Spectrum basic course. If anyone's got any in there want to share, bring, please, you can email me at acewayne27@live.co.uk. Sounded like going live then, didn't I? All of it. Right then. Come on, Commodore, bedtime, you're loaded up, and as always, the loading screen has disappeared. Pause the AWO sound. And you can hear the SID chip in action there. We're not going to let that be the defining and I'm getting flattened straight away. Can I do my flying thing? Have it. Ow. Oh, it's my favourite move of this one. I got him. Made a mess of it though. I got him that time. Oh, I need to get him again, don't I? You can't beat the old walk in and just kick him straight. Am I done for yet? No, not quite. I jumped too early. Give it another go. Perhaps I should have given it another go not. Alright, let's have a look at the Spectrum version and we'll just quickly swap computers. And we've got to go, we can go away with 128K version, can't we? Let's have a look at this. There's your Where the Exploding Fish Spectrum version. And of course, the good thing about Spectrum is it has a great demo, doesn't it? So, I think you have to press and I forget which keys to use now. I'll be just a second while I find out what keys to do. Okay, let's try again. Got him. So, slight difference in colours. I've got to be honest, so I think I can clearly better on. Oops. Clearly better on the Spectrum version than when I said that, and I've just got hit twice. Right, I'm clearly better on the Spectrum version. Yeah. Oh. I'm going to batter him just for the hell of it now. Right. You're dead, pal. Just the usual one. I'm going to do it across the floor. I told you I was going to batter him. It just beat me up twice on both computers. Oh, you're having it. You're dead, right? I forget how to do the gamble. I don't normally miss with that. Gotcha. Told you, have it. Don't mess with the retro. Even showed him what I'm going to do. Can't beat you when you're on the floor. It's the way to go, isn't it, eh? Right, so which one do I consider the better version out of the two? Well, it would be unfair to give it either one, to be honest, but I've got to give it one, and I've got to be honest. Yeah, we got SID sound at the start with the Commodore version, and graphically it's very nicely done indeed. And the Spectrum version now, it's up to its capabilities really. Graphically it's okay. Here comes my verdict. I just think it's slightly better. I've got to say though, the Spectrum plays smoother, but the SID sound swings it, the use of the colours in the background slightly nicer, larger screen area, just makes it. And it was a tie call again, but on this occasion Commodore, I've given it Commodore. And that was a tough one because I so like the Spectrum version. In fact, I actually prefer playing the Spectrum version, but I've got to be unbiased, and that is my opinion, and this is only my opinion. Of course, you may disagree entirely, but I prefer the Commodore version in looks and sound over the Spectrum one. But both versions are pretty great, aren't they? And they are timeless classics. So that's the Retro Robbins show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to like, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the contents. And of course, I'll always be eager to do a few more shows for you if you do enjoy it. In the meantime, for me, Wayne Retro Robbins, let's shorten the show off by saying Happy New Year and thank you for watching, and take care, and I'll see you again soon.